Welcome to Get in Shape by the Total Canine. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 warm-up cool-down class. This class we're going to work on more specific warm-ups right before the run. So we're going from kind of the broad warm-up that we talked about last time, and we're coning down to more specific things to do right before the run to really get ready. Now, again, we're going to really zone in on agility. If you are doing another sport, please ask questions in the Facebook group, and we can talk about your sport specifically. None of the things we're going to talk about in this are wrong for other sports, but there might be more specific exercises that you want to do specifically for your sport. So the first thing I want to remind everyone about is, so you've done your general warm-up at the beginning of the day, your long walk, maybe a little bit of sprinting, fetching type exercise, and now we're getting ready to go to the first run. The nice thing about agility is that pretty much all the runs are the same, meaning you're going to be out there for probably somewhere between 25 seconds to 40 seconds, depending on your dog, and whether it's a standard course or a jumper's course or a game. But all the equipment's pretty standardized, so they're going to be jumping, they're going to be turning, they're going to be, weave poles and contact equipment. So it's not like we have to really prepare differently for one run versus a different run. Such as, to give you an example, in another sport like swimming or running, track and field, you might be doing one event that's more of an endurance event, and then later on the day you might be doing more of a sprint event, and you would want to warm up very differently for the two of them. That's not the case in agility. So, in thinking about this episode, I did realize that I was going to need to incorporate some dog video of my routine and my friend's warm-up routine that's very similar to mine, and post that. The good news is that we do have a trial this weekend, so I'll be able to get that video and post it on the Facebook page. So, I'm going to explain everything in this episode. Video is to come. So the first thing I want to talk about with getting ready for your run is really getting the heart rate up, getting a lot of sprinting in. So be careful. Depending on where you are, you may not want to do a lot of sprinting around the ring and getting dogs very riled up. Reactive dogs might go a little crazy, or the dog in the ring might they're distracted by you running right next to the ring. So I do tend to, for the sprint right before going into the ring, I try and find some place that is off to the side. Like last couple weekends ago in the fairgrounds, the bleachers were all on one side, and there were little hallways in between the sets of bleachers, and that's where I did my sprints. So I wasn't really distracting any dogs, and not causing a commotion. Now, what I would do for that is basically I tossed a toy, and we're talking this was probably 30 feet at most, these hallways. And I would toss the toy, rev my dog up, ready, and release them and give them like a go, or whatever the command is to run ahead and get the toy. And as they did it, I also raced them because I want to get my heart rate up and get my fast twitch muscles ready to go in the ring. So I would do somewhere between 5 to 8 reps of that. I don't like to do a whole lot of it. I don't want to get them tired. I just want them to get ready to race and get their heart rate up a little bit. And we know just doing a trot in a dog isn't really going to get their heart rate up significantly. So they need to have that acceleration and running all out to get a toy. Now, if your dog doesn't like to chase a toy or fetch a toy, then I would encourage you to just run with your dog, 5 times in the 30 feet to get them warmed up. You want them breaking into a run, not just trotting with you. So if you have a dog that will race ahead of you and you have to run with them, that means you're going to have to run as fast as you can too. So have fun with that. It's a lot of fun. It's a great bonding exercise with your dogs too. So that's how I start. And then as I can get closer to the ring, I do a lot of mental management as I work myself closer to the ring. And that's my plan for episode 3. So we'll talk about that later. But my goal is from that kind of far, they're out of the crate, they've done their sprinting kind of away from the ring a little bit, and then I move closer to the warm-up jump. Now, if I am in a rush, so if it's my second dog and I don't have a lot of time in between dogs, or I'm the first dog in the line, my sprinting will actually be the get out of the crate and sprint to the practice jump. I don't have time to go find a place and do that, but just that sprint to the practice jump should be good enough. I always start at the practice jump with running around the jump in a circle. So the dog is with me and we are running around. So I'm not actually asking them to take the jump. They're just running around. This is kind of a combination of both some mental warm-up and physical warm-up. So it's doing your circles, so they're getting ready for turns. Now it is wider turns. It's not really the tight turns yet, but they're getting some turning action. But they're also realizing, okay, I'm really close to agility. They're getting really high, wanting to go do it. And there's a jump in front of them, but they're not allowed to take it unless I give them permission to do it. So it's working on a little bit of that mental focus. Hey, you have to pay attention to me too. I do use it as a test to see how mentally prepared my dog is. If my dog cannot run with me around the jump, if they constantly cut behind me or run in front of me to take it, then I know they are just a little too high, and I need to work on calming them down a little bit before we're ready to go in the ring. So from that point, I go into my jump routine. And you may have a specific jump routine that you do. I don't think that specifically matters in your warm-up. It's just, hey, it's kind of we're getting ready for agility. So I practice jumping in extension, tight turns around the wing, back sides, front crosses, rear crosses, what order you do them in, how many you do. I don't actually spend a lot of time at the practice jump, but that's, if you have a specific routine with the jump, I would stick with that. I wouldn't necessarily change how you do the jumping part. Except for just the running around the jump. I think that helps, again, warm up their muscles and get them a little more mentally focused. So after that, I then walk away from the practice jump and I do more specific exercise. So one of the things I want to hit is tight turns, hind legs moving from flexion to extension as if they were jumping, and in working on the front end a little bit, I do more of an active stretch of the front end than anything. So my tight turns, I give them their left and right commands. For me, a left means turn tightly and going a left direction, and right, go in the right direction. So they know they are supposed to do a tight spin for those. I do multiple of them. I don't think you can do too many, but I would say you need to at least do 5 in each direction. I end up usually doing a lot because a lot of times I have my dogs out a little too early. And so that's a behavior they know. It's working again on the mental connection, so I will use that more than just the 5 times. Not a problem. For the back leg flexion into extension, I ask my dogs to sit, and then jump up onto me. So, but put their front legs up on me. Now, if you're working with a small dog, maybe a little harder, you may need to find something like a step to ask them to do that. So ask them to sit in front of the step and then put their front legs up on the first or second step, depending on how big they are. Or if you can put them on a table or something and then have them go from the table to jumping up on you, that might help. Again, I don't do a lot of reps of that. Probably 5 in a row is plenty to get that warmed up. Then for the front legs, I actually just ask the dogs to go to do a play bow and then back up into a stand. So it's more of a stretch. Now there is some warming up of the lats. I think it's good for landing or 2-on, 2-off position, but I don't really want to imitate the impact because they don't need to be warmed up for the impact. That's just going to cause more repetitive stress on the joints to have them do that. So play bow to stand, I think is great. Now you've hit the entire body with those 3 exercises. So if you don't have a lot of time, do those 3. Now, if you have more time, I would also incorporate walking backwards. I love that to warm up the hamstrings. And then I would also do some sidestepping, either my dogs like to, in healing, wrap around me, and so they'll just offer side steps, and I'll do that on the other side. Or you can make them do it by kind of walking into them. That's not really my favorite way to do it. What you'll probably find is if you have a cookie or something and they wrap around in front of you, and they're focused on the cookie, but you're also walking forward, you'll get some of that sidestepping. You just need to make sure and switch and do it the other way. So that just activates the abductor and adductor muscles when you do the sidestepping. So if you have time for all of those, that would be my go-to exercises. So let's repeat. We've got the tight circles in both left and right direction. That's going to get you flexion of the spine and work those muscles, warm up those muscles for turning tight on the agility course. Then we're basically going to do a sit to a front feet up. In my exercise classes, I call this a power up. And then we're going to do a play bow to a stand, walk backwards, and sideways walking. That is what I would hit to go into the ring. Now, you're going to get a lot of other stuff with the mental management because I add a lot of tricks in that my dogs know. So video will come this weekend on what those exercises look like, because I know it's a little hard to go based on just a verbal description. And then I just want you guys to know that if you're short on time, if you are the first dog on the line, try to get as much of this done before you have to get your dog out to run. So I would actually do this routine before I even walked the course. And then when they're back in their crate, or if someone can hold them, they're in some kind of coat. Again, my recommendation is the Back on Track, but use whatever you have. And then when you have to get them right out and get online, just do the sprinting. Their muscles should be warm. Do the sprinting, maybe do a couple tight turns, and get them in and go. I don't think that 8-10 minutes between when you did the warm-up and your run is going to cause any harm. Again, going back to athletic experience, most of the time you don't get to go directly from the warm-up to your event. So for example, in swimming, there's usually a warm-up pool, which was separate from the main pool, could even be in another building. And you have to do your warm-up, and then we put a parka on, go to the event pool, and if it's a big event, you have to sit in a ready room, and that could take time. You have to go out, they announce your name, do all that kind of stuff. So, there is going to be some time between your warm-up and when you actually compete, and that's okay. Don't stress out about it. So, be sure to comment or post questions on the page, and like I said, I will get video out as soon as possible of what I'm talking about with the specific exercises. Thanks.